tell me what a black lady is? Can you tell me what a black lady is? Where's the black lady? Where's the black lady? Where's the black lady? Welcome to the Scandalous Scandal Recap. I'm Larry Brown Jr. I'm looking for the black lady. Janiyah, can you find the black lady?
LBJ, I don't know where she is, frankly. You know what? I'm looking for her as well. Hi, everybody. I'm Janiyah Wright.
Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. We're recapping this a few days later after season 4 episode 11 of Scandal, Where's the Black Lady aired. I was in Los Angeles for some things for work, and we are back with our Scandal recaps. Janiyah, I feel like Scandal has returned. Not that it ever went anywhere, but last week's episode was amazing. What did you think?
LBJ, let's be honest, it did kind of go somewhere. You know, I think all of us were kind of thinking, well, this show, we don't know how many seasons you're going to have left because you're losing a little bit of steam, Scandal. LBJ, you know what they said? They said, hey, take those notions, throw them in the trash can, because this show is not going anywhere anytime soon. We have many more tricks up our sleeve. LBJ, they shocked our minds, as my mother would say, to Channel 9.
Shocked the mind to Channel 9. Let's jump into this.
She says it all the time. Yes.
That is so funny. You know who was not on Channel 9 was Olivia Pope. We don't know what channel she was on. We don't know what continent she's on. We don't know what country. We don't know where Olivia Pope was when the episode opened. All we know is that Olivia Pope was sitting on. Olivia Pope was reading a cue card in front of a camera, hair all over her head. And you know one thing, I always tell this to my wife. I'm like, you know, whenever women have new hair, there's always a new attitude that comes along with new hair, and that was Olivia Pope's defeatist hair. She was defeated that entire time she was reading that cue card. So she had her defeated hair all over her head, reading the cue card, and we see her really at the mercy of these terrorists, Janiyah. And never in the episode, in the life of the show, have we seen Olivia Pope so vulnerable. I thought it was really good that Shonda Rhimes showed that Olivia Pope could be broken down when she's got nothing left, when she's at the mercy of someone else.
Well, you know, LBJ, this is where Shonda Rhimes has done some trickery on you and on many people, and most of all on Ian. Because no, LBJ, she may have just been pretending like she was a little vulnerable and broken down, but Olivia Pope was still, as she always is, in beast mode, LBJ. There were a couple of scenes where she was interacting with Ian, and she showed him that, you know what, sure, I may be looking a little bedraggled right now, but you're not the boss of me, you know? In that scene where she's reading the cue cards, LBJ, she's there in that moment. She's pretending to be shaken up, and she's just so off her game. LBJ, she asks them for a glass of water, LBJ, because in that moment she's thinking, she's on Pope time. She's thinking, how can I leverage this moment to try to pursue my freedom? LBJ, she gets a glass of water, and she literally drinks the water and holds the glass so that the reflection of Ian is in the video. This is Olivia showing us, no, I'm not off my game, LBJ.
I don't think she was necessarily off her game, but I do feel like there was a moment where I feel like in that moment where she was reading the cue card, she had no hope, and she was thinking, how do I survive this? And so she went into that gladiator mode, like, okay, don't lose your soul, Olivia. Figure something out. You know that the president is going to see this, and you know that Gabby Abby Red works in the White House. You know that you've got Cyrus in the White House. So, let me send a message. Let me help them out. Let me help them find where I am. I know that if Cyrus or Gabby Abby Red got their hands on this, or even Fitz, they will call my people in. They're gonna call in the goons, the gladiator goons, and help out. And that's just what happened. But we also saw in this episode some more goons, and those other goons were the goons of the vice president, Janiyah. How dare the vice president get pages and get interns and get the Secret Servicemen on his side watching the president? He's got Fitz all over the place wondering, who can I trust in the White House, when he is looking for Olivia and he's being forced to wage this war.
LBJ, it is so crazy. When we thought of Andrew in prior seasons, prior episodes, he was really a non-issue. We really weren't even taking him seriously. And now Andrew somehow has found some way to leverage all of these people in the White House and all of these people in the alphabet agencies. LBJ, what does he have on these people? What does he know about these people that they are willing to do his bidding to monitor the President of the United States, the head of the Secret Service, walking into the Oval Office and telling the President what to do, LBJ? My mouth agape. I was blown away. I said, the gall. The gall. LBJ, what does Andrew have on these people and on these agencies that he's able to have this amount of leverage?
Exactly. I said this. I was thinking the exact same thing. What's really crazy, Janiyah, it made me call to question, how long has this been in process? How long did they take to actually get these people on the team, get their confidence, and make sure that they were on the same page as him as being and going along with this plan? It was something that really kind of threw me off a little bit, because I was kind of side-eyeing everybody. If I was the president, I'd be side-eyeing everybody walking through the hallways as well, because there's absolutely nobody to trust. But what I will say about Fitz is that he took the advice of the vice president or the Secret Service lead, and he told him, he's like, you know, we've got everything wired, we've got everything tapped, we are watching your every single move. Even when you think we're not watching you, we're watching you. And so he's like, okay, let me figure out. I got to figure something out. Where can I go to figure out a place to talk and to be quiet and to speak to someone else? And what does he do? He goes to find Homeboy, his former, oh gosh, what did I call him? His former John Henry, his former goon, his former personal goon or whatever. And he sees him in solitary confinement, and he tells him, go where they're not going to look for you. And where does he end up? In Olivia's apartment, talking to Jake.
LBJ, that was bananas. Because let us just recall Olivia when she was going, slightly crazy last episode. One or two episodes ago, when she first got locked up in this prison, LBJ, she literally there was having all of those hallucinations, you'll recall, those wild dreams. And in those dreams, she literally was putting Fitz and Jake in the boxes that they're living out right now. In that dream, LBJ, Fitz was her love. He was the one that she wanted to spend her life with. He had her heart. But in that dream, LBJ, Jake was her protector. And what happened? What happened? Here we have Fitz sitting here so lovelorn that he's going literally to war, LBJ, killing people, killing innocent people. But who does he go to actually get the work done of getting his boo back? Oh, he goes directly to Jake, to the superhero himself. LBJ, that whole little exchange was super crazy. But you know what, LBJ, you know who else was really, showing us the good stuff this episode? LBJ, it was Huck.
I knew you were going to say that. I
love him. Huck is back, LBJ. What did you think about Huck and using his special investigative tactics?
So I thought, first of all, the way that Huck bolted out of the office, I was like, okay, something's going down, and something's going down right now, and it's going to shut something down. I'm like, I don't know if Huck is going to get into licking. I don't know if Huck is going to get into cutting. I know what Huck was going to get into. All I knew, Huck was getting into something. And what Huck did was showed up to Lizzie DeGeneres' house, and he was like, after she sang a lullaby and lulled her daughter to sleep, she comes out of the bedroom in her probably wonderful home in Rock Creek Park. And what happens? Huck slams the woman up against the wall, puts a muzzle over her face, and he's like, "Where is Olivia Pope? Where's Olivia Pope? If you don't know where Olivia Pope is, I'm going to cut your daughter's insides out and show them to you, and I'm going to saute them, make them a buffet and a smorgasbord for every cannibal in America to eat." That's not what he said, but that's essentially what he said.
You got the gist. You got the gist. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so what he did, what Huck essentially did was put the pressure on her to figure out, to try to hurry up and put the pressure on Lizzie to figure out where Olivia was. And she knew something was going on. She didn't know all of what was going on, but she knew Olivia was being used as a pawn. So what did she do? She went to Homeboy. She went to Andrew to figure out, okay, what's going on? Andrew didn't want to give up the details. So who comes in and talks to Lizzie Bear? It's Mellie. Mellie gets word from Fitz, like something's going on. Mellie revealed, hey, things are going on with Andrew again with the vice president. He's like, well, look, Homeboy, the man that you like to screw, has my girl. So, and I need to figure something out because they want us to wage a war, but I need my girl back. I need her alive. So find the proof of life. Make sure we have it. I need to know this before I do engage with anything with the vice president. Mellie and Lizzie come together, hatch a plan, because remember, Huck came back to that woman's house not once, but twice. We saw 2 visits to Lizzie DeGeneres' home in search of Olivia. These 2 women got together, Janiyah, and did something that was completely epic to me. They slept with them. They hatched a plan where Lizzie slept with the vice president, and then took his telephones and delivered them to Olivia Pope and Associates after receiving lashes, 12 years of slave lashes on her back from Huck the night before in her house. How crazy was that?
And LBJ, this is where, once again, you're just 90% correct in your recap of what happened in the episode. Once again, LBJ,
I'm probably missing something because I'm so excited.
Yeah, you're 10% off there. Now, there was a woman in that little duo who went and sacrificed herself on the altar of Andrew, but it was not Lizzie DeGeneres, LBJ. It was Mellie.
Mellie, right? Yeah, thank you. I said Lizzie.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, because again, this is now several days ago we watched this episode. But if I recall correctly, it was Mellie, LBJ. And I will say this, it was early in the episode where Mellie was talking to Fitz, and she came clean. She said to Fitz early on in the episode, she said, Fitz, you know what? I had started sleeping with Andrew again. And I want to tell you this because I want us to be honest with each other. I want us to be transparent because we are partners. And what she basically said in that moment, LBJ, before she even knew that Olivia had been kidnapped, she said to Fitz, listen, I'm recommitted. I am in it to win it. This is our presidency. We are going to do this thing. And LBJ, little did she know that Fitz was going to call her to action a little later in the episode. All he was doing, LBJ, was giving her an FYI. He didn't know that she was going to hatch a master plan and get the whole thing done. LBJ, she sleeps with that man. She goes in, has an entire dramatic presentation for him. Totally twists him around her little finger. Gets those telephones, LBJ.
Yes.
She personally walks them over, if I recall correctly. I think she dropped them at the Pope and Associates office, if I recall correctly. And then later in the episode says to Fitz, oh, don't worry, honey. I took care of everything. Did you see that, LBJ? Do you remember her telling Fitz?
I remember that was a boss move.
Yes.
That was a boss move by her, yes.
It really was. And LBJ, you know who else was really being a boss in this episode, LBJ? It was, let's just go ahead and say it, Cyrus. Now, here we had Cyrus, LBJ. He was, frankly, having one of his Cyrus meltdowns because he was looking at the fact that somehow he had gotten out of the loop. But LBJ, it was so exciting to me because Cyrus didn't go to a place when he realized that the vice president was having some kind of leverage over Fitz. He didn't go to a place of, Fitz doesn't love me anymore. He went to a place of, LBJ, and this is where the boss move was, something's going on. I've got to get down to the bottom of it. What did you think of Cyrus in this episode?
It's with, say it one more time, my connection, the boss was when what?
Oh, I'm sorry, LBJ. I was talking about Cyrus in this episode. What did you think of Cyrus in this episode?
So I think Cyrus, I love Cyrus dearly, you know that. All the good, the bad, and the darkness that makes up Cyrus. I was a little disappointed with Cyrus because it took him so long to figure out what was going on. I'm like, Cyrus, you know your friend. You know what's going on. You know how he rolls. So you, Cyrus, should know that something's afoot, and you need to figure out what's afoot with your friend. And Cyrus took forever to figure that out. And Cyrus said, well, why isn't he listening to me? Why isn't he listening to me? Man, this is his second term. You don't know when something's going wrong with this guy? Like, it took Fitz an opportunity. Fitz was literally screaming at this man saying something is wrong, listen to me, and Cyrus didn't want to receive that. It wasn't until Fitz had to pretty much say, hey, I want to take this Post-it and slip it in this report and make you read this report that you know about already, but I need you to read this report. But there's this little piece of paper inside this report that I need you to read. And it took him forever. I was a little disappointed by that, but I do love Cyrus's resilience and the fact that he went into Gladiator, let's save the world mode when everything came together, when he realized what was going on with the president and the vice president in this episode. Gabby Abby Red, to me, should have also not been so gullible, and she should have been paying attention. See, I think that is showing that showed us that they're a little too comfortable right now. and they
Right.
need to stay on their stuff. That I was a little disappointed by that. I was glad we saw that,
Absolutely.
but I was
Yeah.
disappointed in those characters in that regard.
Yeah, there was actually a point in that when Cyrus was coming to his realization. There was a point where he was talking to Gabby and trying to say to Gabby, something is strange here. What is going on? Why is the president deferring to the VP? And Gabby said something, LBJ, that basically confirms exactly what you just said. She said everything is going fine. She said she said something along the lines, LBJ, of for the first time ever, everything is going smoothly.
Yes, and it was just like, come on, really? Do you really think that you can say that? Do you not want to be a gladiator anymore? Are you really saying that? Like, come on, get a life. Like, do better.
Right.
Do better with yourself.
Right, exactly. And LBJ, you know what? We have to go back to talk about Olivia once again. In her exchange with Ian, LBJ, because there was something really special that happened. And this is, again, me disagreeing with you about Olivia being off her game, LBJ. Because there she was, getting a little hand bath. She's in the disgusto bathroom
Right.
of the non-prison. And Ian's behind her talking all that. Oh, I'm Mr. Tough Guy. She turns to him, LBJ, and she said, "You know what? It's clear to me now. It's clear to me based on this correspondence that you are just a pawn." She said, "You're not making the decisions." LBJ, there she was. Not only was she in a space where she was, for all intents and purposes, at his mercy, LBJ, she was naked in that moment.
She was.
She turns to him, and she still, LBJ, lets him know that he's about to get poked. Did you see? That was a warning. You're about to get poked, sir.
It was good. It was so good. You're right. I do have to concede to your notion that Olivia was on her game. Because that was completely a boss move. She was the boss, not the babysitter. Clearly, Ian is the babysitter, not the boss. But I love how she did that reverse psychology, and she made him feel empowered enough to become the boss. And she was like, "We could have the plan together. We could sell me. I know the price on the market for me," and blah, 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 blah. And it was just like, you could tell she was all spitting in his face and everything with the hair all over her head.
Yes.
It was just so, it was quintessential Olivia Pope strategizing, fixing something. She had to fix her own mess. Like, the mess that she was in. It was brilliant. I loved it.
It was brilliant, LBJ. And of course, Ian, being the pawn that he's always has been since we met him, he gives in. He is twisted around Olivia's finger. The next time we see Olivia, not only has someone given her a new pressing curl, she's back in her fancy outfit. They're sitting on a plane somewhere, LBJ. And now Ian is somewhere on this phone calling up the president, once again, now, having a little power play. Because who's pumped up his head? Olivia Pope.
Absolutely.
The craziest thing about that, though, LBJ, was that Olivia didn't even know it, but the first plan that she hatched was actually working. They have been able, based on having the cell phones and having the reflection of Ian in the glass, Mellie, Elizabeth, and Olivia were working all together. They didn't even know it.
They didn't even know it,
LBJ. All three of them working together, that plan was actually successful. And they had found the secret hideout in Philadelphia. Yes. LBJ, only for Jake, the superheroes, to go sweeping in, LBJ. And guess what? Olivia has hatched plan B, and in executing it, which was this manipulation of Ian, she missed her savior's come. She missed Jake's arrival. So
she missed the second coming.
She missed the second coming, LBJ. Yeah. So, it was too bad. I mean, my heart just broke. To all I could think, LBJ, I was just thinking about Jake, thinking about his heart beating in his chest. Oh my gosh, is my woman we're gonna walk into the sunshine together? Is she on the other side of the door? LBJ, the adrenaline. He's excited, only to bust in there and not to see anything but her black cloak.
Oh man, it was a mess. It was a complete and total mess. But can we take a step back to figure out how they got to this place? It's like you said, it was all these plans working together, and everything was gelling and just lining up and working out. And it ties directly into what I was wondering the entire episode is, what is this? Where's the black lady have to do with anything? And my heart was so warmed to see Marla Gibbs on the episode, and Marla Gibbs was there. talking to at Olivia Pope and Associates, and we figured out, okay, Marla Gibbs is the girlfriend of Olivia Pope's neighbor across the hall, where they held where they set up shop and had their command center and their war room set up there, all of that. So then they're like, oh gosh, maybe that's what happened. The woman's dead, so let's figure out. Let's go across and check that apartment. Oh, Olivia left this sign here. She was here. We look under the carpet, the area rug. We see the ring. Everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. I love the fact though that Olivia. So that was one moment where my heart was warm. The second moment that I loved in the episode was the very end when Olivia's sitting in the plane and she was feeling herself. She was feeling herself so much. You know, she got done. I told you, new hair, new attitude, right?
Yes, so indeed.
The distressed hair was gone. She found a flat iron, or she put some heat on her hair, like you said. She found a pressing curl, and she sat there and she was in the plane looking out, and she said, like she was feeling herself. It was good. I was like, okay, Olivia, you got it. You got it.
Yeah, she was doing a real good job of undermining herself. Because if she had just stayed put, LBJ, she would have been rescued. But you were so right, LBJ. There she was on this plane, knowing full well, LBJ, that she was going to get found. And she had bought some time. You know, it was so amazing, too, LBJ, the way that she was just in sync with her team, the way her team was picking up her messages. You know, She leaves the ring in the room. They find it. They know her well enough to recognize the ring. Would you recognize any of my jewelry, LBJ? I don't think so, okay? They knew her well enough to recognize her jewelry. She knew enough about the technology that Huck leverages to know that a reflection in a glass would give him the information he needed.
Absolutely.
LBJ, and there she was, there, hungry, dirty, distressed hair, and she knows that if she can get some chatter out there in the dark underworld, that Huck will be able to find that chatter. LBJ, it was just, once again, Olivia beast mode.
Beast mode, total beast mode. So beast mode, check it out of this Scandal recap. What are your predictions for the next episode?
Oh my gosh, LBJ, I have way more questions than predictions. You know, frankly, my mind is my mind is racing. I'm wondering, what will Huck do with all this information? How will Huck tap into all of these underground, people? This is going to be exciting. We're going to get a chance to see some of the dark belly of the international world. Also wondering, how will Fitz continue to bear this weight of watching people die in West Angola, just killing them, dying, people, Americans dying as well, his people dying for this war that is all for Olivia Pope. I'm also interested to see if Elizabeth continues to be an ally. As much as she, is really right now, she doesn't want her daughter killed. She's got now the Huck stripes on her back. LBJ, still, we have to remember, the West Angola War was her idea. She planted that idea in Andrew's head. She told him that if there was a war, he would be guaranteed his next presidency. I'm waiting to see how these things pan out. Do you have any predictions?
Oh my gosh, those are great questions and great feelings of anticipation that you've got going on there tonight. For me, the predictions I'm working on, the first prediction is, we better not have Olivia held hostage this entire season. Like, I can't continue going on like this. So my prediction is that we got 2 more episodes of Olivia in this whole hostage situation, and it's all going to be shut down because Ian is going to die, and that'll be that. The other thing is that I think we're going to get some kind of underlying social commentary on war and just with international relations and things like that, that will be interwoven in the dialogue and in the script of the show. I will say that I am anticipating, just like you're waiting to see like what Fitz is going to do and how he's going to feel, I'm anticipating the return of Mama and Papa Pope. We cannot go on in this season without some kind of interaction between Mama and Papa Pope. So I'm looking forward to seeing their connection in all of this. Papa Pope, is Roland Pope involved in this? Is this some sick, twisted way of him punishing his daughter? Is this Time Out? For Roland Pope's version of Time Out for his daughter Olivia, seriously, like, is this Time Out, or is this something that her mother knew was coming, and her mother tried to warn her when she said, "Livy," but her mother said with her with all that stank and all that, that she has with her. What is this really? That's my question for everything. What is this really? Why is this going on, and who's involved, and who's ultimately benefiting from the bottom line? That's the biggest question I have for that.
And LBJ, when you're talking about Mama Pope, you know, you raise another question in my mind, which is, how come Mama Pope was ever able to keep her press and curl up when she was in prison, but Olivia was not? Right?
Well, that's because Daddy Pope had her in them holes. So I'm sure she probably cussed him out and said, "Give me a flat iron." And, you know,
yeah. She said, "I'll stay down here in the underbelly of the justice system, but I need a flat iron." Really?
Right? Exactly. You know, she called it the bowels of the justice.
That's what she said.
That's what it was.
That's right. And LBJ, you know what? We know that command has gone pretty much off the grid, quote unquote. But Eli Pope, what if he now, LBJ, sees some of this chatter because he's now part of that underworld and he bids on his daughter or something? LBJ, it's going to be really interesting to see how Mama and Papa Pope come back into this episode.
Absolutely. The last thing I'll just say, and I guess I can use it as a takeaway, I will say this, pay attention to the details in life because you never know how they will line up or come back to remind you of something. And this is not necessarily like a spiritual takeaway or anything, but if we recall in this episode, and I'll be very brief, it was Ian who referred to Olivia again as the face that launched 1,000 ships. And if you remember, Janiyah, we had an episode before in this season where they called her Helen of Troy. And to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, they foreshadowed this entire thing going on. I never saw them I never saw us going to war. But Shonda Rhimes and all of her brilliance and the writing team, they told us that there was going to be something popping off this season. I didn't pay attention to it, so I didn't pay attention to the details. That's my takeaway. That's all I have left to say. What about you?
LBJ, that's such a good takeaway, and I just really thank you so much for that. Because once again, LBJ, you're raising the big questions, and I thank you for that. Let me tell you, LBJ, there were a couple of things that felt like takeaways to me in this episode. You know, there were a couple of resonant quotes that I want to share. You know, there was a point where Elizabeth, you know, goes and confronts Andrew. Andrew, you know, one of Olivia's henchmen came and tried to get me and my daughter. And you know what he said to her? He said, take a deep breath.
Yes.
Get your head right, you know, and get the heck on board. LBJ, he didn't say heck. LBJ, but this is a family recap. So I'm doing the PG, the G-rated version.
Right.
LBJ, there was also a moment in the show, LBJ. It was when Fitz was talking to Tom, and Tom said something along the lines of, you know, Fitz was confronting Tom about killing his son. Right? And Tom says something along the lines of, you know, Jerry was a sacrifice. He said your son was a sacrifice for your presidency. Yeah, I killed your son, but I did it because I did it in support of you. You know? And LBJ, all of this to me circles back to this theme of, are you a boss or a babysitter? You know,
you got it.
Who is telling you what to do, LBJ? Who is running your life? I think we all have to take a note from Tamar Braxton's book and get your life. Because you know what? It's so easy, LBJ, to be a pawn in somebody else's game without realizing it, or you realize it and you let it happen. I think Shonda Rhimes tonight, LBJ, was challenging us to really get our lives.
That was good, Janiyah. That was good. There's nothing else left to say. Everybody get your life and figure out if you're a boss or a babysitter. We'll see you on the next Scandal recap. Bye-bye.
Bye.